I spend a lot of time at the start of the show talking about this homelessness report. 3 million people are right on the edge, okay? We know that there are plenty of people that you have to deal with in the city of Melbourne, plenty of people in regional Queensland as well, who are in a world of trouble where they're still working, but they don't have enough money for rent, and they might be living in their car, living in their tent. Today, 3 million people on the edge. This government today did not talk about that issue, did not respond to that issue, did not find $1 billion off budget to help any of those people. Instead, it's censoring the internet and launching reviews into whether cash will or won't be available at a service station in 2026. I think, again, those 3 million people have every right to vote, but those 3 million people know other family members, meaning the total number of people that are exposed to this is a lot more than 3 million people, and I think that that is a decisive figure in your political future. And if this bloke is spending more money on ads, flogging too little too late tax cuts and building futures money, all of this sort of garbage, well, I would cancel every dollar of that and I would throw it at making sure people have somewhere to live.
Yeah, look, I think housing is going to be a major issue at the next election. Probably we haven't seen housing at such a relevant issue in a long, long time. I mean, we heard a lot of negativity from Matt a moment ago. Didn't hear much in the way of positive plans, and that's a challenge to Labor as well. I agree with Matt. They can't just write on the records. They've really got to go to the election with a positive plan and show people the practical things they will do to make people's life, that little bit better, that helping hand that people are looking for. And housing's going to be an absolute key area where I'd be hoping to see more from Labor. I mean, I think in this country, there's a complex combination of factors feeding into housing unaffordability. I mean, some of it is construction costs. Some of it is obviously interest rates. I think the fact that housing has become an investment category in Australia has been a problem as well. Yeah, I do think the fact that we've had strong population growth and not enough new homes being built is a factor, Paul. I agree with you in part on that. So the question at the election is going to be, well, what are you going to do about it? And that's the real challenge for Labor. But I am confident that I think Albanese and Labor will go forward with a strong plan. Like, you just look at that slogan they've got out there, and it's more than just a slogan, building Australia's future. I think that's exactly where Albanese should be going on housing.
Yeah, but Matt, does anyone believe this building Australia's future stuff, right? Again, yeah, wonderful slogan. And
it's got to have some, yeah.
And I've got this feeling, right? And again, politicians will stand up and here's the slogan and this is this billion and this, like, until people see something change, and something that state governments have been devilishly good at, which is, and it's worked for multiple state governments getting re-elected who don't deserve it, right? Which is to basically announce a plan for some giant construction site, make sure that you put the bunting up around it even though they haven't even done the architect's plan, so people might think something's happening. But the reality is, when 3 million people are this close, there's always been poverty, but that is a red light that if there is a shock at the election, it's not a breadcrumb, it's a giant bakery of a clue to where we might be heading in this country.
I think we're heading potentially for an economic crisis unless we turn things around pretty quickly. And look, slogans are fine. You need to try and succinctly explain your position to people. The problem with the building Australia's future is there's not a lot of meat on the bone, and the stuff that is there is failing before our eyes. And so most of that building Australia's future is around this so-called energy transition, which has only delivered higher power prices for Australia, promises about mythical hydrogen jobs, which have not and are not turning up anytime soon. And so, yes, I agree with Nick. We've got to come up with our own plans. I've said this on this show many times. We've got a good start there with the plans to cut government spending by $90 billion, taking off pressure off inflation, bringing prices down. We've got plans to remove the ridiculous and out-of-date nuclear energy ban so we can build reliable power supplies that can keep our manufacturing jobs in this country. And we've got a plan to cut migration, to take pressure off housing so our young people can afford a home. There's a lot more to do, of course. But I think if the problem for this government is their current plans are clearly failing. So unless they pivot here and get rid of the barnacles, so to speak, that John Howard was an expert at doing, I really think they're going to struggle, because how can you go to the electorate with a bunch of reheated microwave plans from 2022 that have clearly not worked?